Hey, welcome back to Analog Man Podcast. Please do me a favor and just hit the like button before we start a new song from The Warning. Without any warning, period. We're going to start Gen Z. And I don't know, man. I don't know what to expect, but so far I've loved every single song from this band. I mean, they just kick solid behind. And Gen Z sounds like a cool title. I'm not Gen Z, but we'll talk about it after this. We'll get into that. We'll get into that for sure. But for now, just let's just get into the song. Let's just get into the song. Gen Z, let's go. Whoa, dude. Oh, dude. Danny's such a sick guitarist. Okay, this was just, you know, every rock band has to have that customary, like every great rock band, it's got to have that song where they're rejecting the norm, like whatever generation that's trying to push them into something. These girls are something else, man. Like, do you see the way the crowd was just rocking? Like, you can't fabricate that. This is a they were so into music. They love the band. I'd love to go to one of these concerts. What's interesting is that they're saying Gen Z. There was one lyric I want to talk about there. I will get to that, but yeah, before we do that, please hit the subscribe button. But this band is like, I guess they're Gen Z. I would guess they're Gen Z, but the interesting thing, I think I'm a Generation X person, so towards the tail end, the Gen X's and the Gen Z's get along pretty well as compared to like millennials. I think it's because that's the generation that maybe raised them, and you can just see it in the toughness and the grittiness. Like, it's like, you know what? Forget your feelings, bro. Like, I'm a hard rocker. I'm gonna kick doors down. I'm just gonna get after it. You can talk about all this kind of stuff here and there, but you just get after it. And somebody taught them that, parenting wise, that, you've got to make your own way in this world. And these girls are absolutely doing it, all three of them. This was a really good song. I do understand a little bit of that, kind of that hint towards punk with kind of like the oi, oi, oi in the beginning of the song as well. So yeah, I appreciate that. I do, I did listen to a lot of punk rock during that age when I was like that age, and mostly ska, like because I liked reggae. I've always liked reggae. I think it was the first Bob Marley album that I had that I just fell in love with reggae music. But sometimes you need something like a little bit harder, which, I had some ups and downs with music. I listened to that kind of music, and then I started listening like pretty much roots reggae for a long time in Calypso, because I was so full of rage and anger and everything, and I needed something to like bring me back down, and that did me well during my 20-year career in special operations. That I had to keep a level head, but I could turn on the bull in the china shop when I needed to. But I'm getting a little bit older, so for me, it's probably a good idea to maybe raise it up a little bit. And these girls are helping me do that. Actually, gonna start listening to when I do my workout music, and I can maintain. I appreciate it, girls. You're giving me that motivation. And I'm also a girl dad, so I just love seeing when girls kick butt like this, especially like when they kick butt in this way, where they're breaking norms, and they're very independent and self-confident. And that's the thing that I taught my daughters most of all, is to be confident in yourself. And I think so. That's what I think as a father, that is your most important responsibility when you have girls, is to help them build their own self-confidence. Some people just have it naturally, and every kid's going to be a little bit different. Believe me, you can raise three children and they can all turn out completely different, because there is that part of independent self. But you can teach your kids to be, boy or girl, you can teach them to be self-confident. But I think as a father, I think it's very important to stay in their lives, and stay in their lives even when they might they're like, ew, get away, dad, that kind of stuff. But you constantly stay in their life, and in a positive way. My daughters are funny. Like, they're that age, obviously, boys and stuff. And I guess it was a little bit of a curse. They're super pretty, so as a dad, I was worried. I was worried about all the things that, you know hey, I'm a guy, I know how it was, so I know what guys are thinking, and I just wanted to, ensure that they were prepared for that. It's just the rhythm of life. There's not much you can do about that, except for, give your girls the time that they deserve, and help them build their confidence and their inner strength before they're exposed to like lots of things that maybe they're not ready for. That's a very important thing for a father to do. So new dads out there, take that advice, or old dads, if you haven't done it, it's never too late to start. And yeah, it's just amazing to see what these young women, these girls, I wouldn't really call them girls anymore. They're all young women. Except for maybe Allie, she's still kind of a girl, young woman. But to see what they're able to accomplish at that age, and they've got like that 10 years of like just grinding it out and getting the expertise in their instrument. And honestly, like, Danny blows me away because of her stage presence more than anything. It's not even so, I mean, her guitar, her level's insane too, but it's just the overall, je ne sais quoi, as they say. She's got it, man. And like, it's just, you follow her around the stage, eyes are locked on, because she's just got so much energy. And that's really, really cool, because that's what mega rock bands have that other bands don't have. And these girls, they're on their way. They're on their way. I really don't know why it's only coming through my earwaves recently. I mean, obviously, I listen to different genre, and I'm a little bit older, and I lived on an island, so obviously, maybe this isn't the type of music, but it definitely is the type of music in Mexico. And I think that's really cool how Mexico has kind of, say, in a way, saved rock music with a band like this. And not just that, like, over the years, a lot of my Mexican American friends, they were like I said, they were really into Metallica or Megadeth and some of the real hard rock music. And they took it, the loyalty there, and they really loved the music. And so I don't know, does anybody know how that like started, and why some, if you're Mexican American, could you explain to me how that took such root and hold within your guys' communities, in within the country of Mexico? Because it could have been any type of music, right? It could have been, and I know there's different types of music, but why hard rock, rock and roll specifically? Why is that so deep within the culture there? And it's really cool because rock music is just interesting in general, just like how rock formed and how rock started. Believe it or not, when I went to university, I took a class thinking I was gonna like, skate out and have a little, time to relax. It was a history of rock and roll. And unfortunately, the professor he went to Juilliard, so he took it very seriously, and it was actually the hardest class I took. And I've took high level physics and, all kinds of classes that you would go, that's super hard. My rock and roll class was the hardest. And I've even taken liberal classes. I have a degree in anthropology. So, I'm okay with the liberal stuff, but this particular class, he made it super hard. He made it very, very hard. If you took it too lightly, you just weren't going to get an A. And I worked so hard. And part of it, I think he wanted to show that this genre and rock and roll and music in general is not a hobby. Rock and roll is not easy. It's a labor of love. It's passion. It's so much more than just, people having a good time and just playing music, So that idea, he definitely wanted to drill down on that and just learning the origin of rock and roll, the blues, how country music and the blues came together, how Elvis impacted that, how the British rockers impacted that, which was really interesting for me, learning that particular history because I didn't know that about British rock, but then how obviously rock and roll and the Beatles and their travels, right? They traveled around the world and then their music changed a bit. So rock and roll has a lot of different expressions. I liked a lot of the acoustic stuff like CCR and Bob Dylan and music like that because I am an acoustic type of person, a very analog person. Like I don't like being overwhelmed by too much, studio and to me, people who just play raw instruments and can play them well, I really appreciate it. I have no music talent whatsoever, but I happen to be married to somebody who does, who composes music. And so I always respect people who can play music because it's just like, to me, it's almost like a superpower. It's like, how do you hear that? How do you read that? I mean, it's a different language for sure, but how? How do you make that wooden stick and metal strings make that sound? It's just, I tried my luck at ukulele. And I got to the point where I could play one song on the ukulele, and I'll tell you my band story on another one. I was part of a band, but I was just a writer. But I'll tell that later. I bought this ukulele because I traveled so much, and I wanted to have something I could, I wanted to try to start playing music, but I had no talent, no experience. I just needed something small I could travel with me because I was deploying a lot and stuff like that. So I had this ukulele, like I said, I like reggae, and I lived on the islands. So I learned how to play this one song. So I had this song Drop. It's called Drop Baby Drop. It's a really simple song with ukulele. So I finally got the chords and everything, and I have a terrible voice, as you can tell. It's not like it's like in between deep and scratchy and Kermit the Frog, and depends on how I'm talking, but or how close I move to the microphone. But anyway, I was playing Drop, and I got on this seawall. I was on the island of Okinawa at the time, and I just sitting on the wall, and I finally felt like I got it. Like I was like, yeah, that's it. Drop, baby, drop, and I'm doing, doing like this, and there was a condo like right across the street above, like with an ocean view, and everybody was out on their balcony, and I didn't know, and I was just playing it, and somebody's like, "Boo, boo, you suck," and I was like, "Dude, I suck." I just gave up. Like on the spot, I was like, all right, I don't want to like bother your your night looking at the moon. So that was kind of my thing. And I never really could get off the ground with it. It's just been music was very hard for me for some reason, I can remember lyrics, I can remember things like that, but playing music, that's why I just have so much respect for musicians. Speaking of lyrics, I did hear a little bit there. They said something about Kool-Aid. It was like a Kool-Aid change to Kool-Aid. The way I heard that, I mean, I don't know. What does that mean? This is a younger generation. My first thought was, are they talking about like how Kool-Aid's kind of used to drink and like lean? I don't know if you guys know what lean is, but that was kind of a real popular thing in this generation right now. Is like it's like mixing some things into the drink, which I'm not gonna really say on air, but yeah, I don't know if it was kind of like that's kind of what those kids, or maybe it means something completely different. I don't know. That's why I'm here. I'm just reacting. I don't know. So if you guys have an idea, go ahead and put it in the link. But maybe I stumbled onto something. No, I don't know. Well, maybe I'm just one of those Gen X guys that grew up with a lot of bad stuff going on, so we just assume everything is bad around us. But yeah, so the lyrics on this one, this is that, like, all right, we're our own generation, so maybe this is the anthem. This is the anthem for Gen Z. Maybe it should be, because all these other anthems out there are not as good as this one. These girls just absolutely rock the friggin' building down, and it's so cool to watch it. I think like you said, whatever song I play, I like it. So this is an easy band for me to react to. I enjoy the music. I could take it slow. I could take it fast. And, it doesn't matter if I get views or don't get views. I can listen to the music. And during the edits, it's even better because I'm just listening to the music during the edits. Sometimes my edits can get long on certain subjects. I'm not going to name any artists, but sometimes, like, when you hear it for the second or third time or fourth time, if you're making lots of mistakes, you're like, okay, I'm ready for another song. But, it's never happened with the warning. Speaking of the warning, you guys are crushing the comment section, but you can see I got to the bottom of the barrel once again. Barely. You almost put me out of my misery. I almost just gave up, but I was able to get to the bottom of the comments. But I did start doing, like, exclamation points on a lot of them. So towards the end, just because it was just like I can read it, but I can't type that much. But I want you guys to break this old man, like break me so that I can't do it. And I think if there's any fan base, TWA, you guys are the fan base that will do it. So yeah, this was a really cool suggestion and another cool song by these girls, and it was at the same concert. So yeah, live there, that's the way to go. If this is the first time you've heard this band, The Warning, on my podcast, please, like, put that in the comments, say me first time or something like that, so I can see that, because that'll be really cool. I'd really be, like, stoked that you saw these girls on my podcast, because maybe try to bring something good to the world. That's all of us want to do. So yeah, back to the Gen Z Gen X thing. I really do think that those two groups are more aligned in their thought process. It's a little different. It's different because they're growing up with full on embedded in the technology, right? I'm right in the middle. I'm the last of the analog. I understand I was raised in analog, but I had to onboard this whole digital world. And so, like, I'm kind of right, hence the Analog Man podcast. That perspective is going to be different than, like, somebody that's just born into all that technology. Like my girls, iPad that was in their hands when they were born, because it was like, what is this thing? The first game we had was, or first thing we had, or app we had, was that frog app where you can raise frogs on the iPad. You remember that? It was like different color frogs and you breed them and all that. And the kids were just like, this is awesome. I thought it was awesome. But back in our day, it was Speak and Spell. Do you remember Speak and Spell? That was like the first, like, whoa, this thing, I put something in and it says something out. Speak and Spell. If you don't know what Speak and Spell is, go look that up. Go look that up. But I was an Atari 1600 still generation. So taking the pinball machines in the arcade and bringing it into your house on the TV screen and playing Atari. And yeah, it was all about that, all about that life. We'll talk about that on another one. I actually did an interview with a guy who has a gaming channel. We talked a lot about video games and stuff, and hopefully he'll edit it someday and I'll put it here on the podcast. You guys will really enjoy that one. I'm also looking to bring guests on as well. I have some ideas on how I want to do it. I'll probably do some live streams with guests, and well, you'll see it when it comes to fruition, but not yet, not yet. I'm still working out all the bugs, trying to fix audio and the visual stuff, and making sure things are good. But for now, just keep learning about the warning and playing the warning's music. And without warning, I'll just keep dropping more the warning, because that all makes it. You could actually use that 3 times in a row, and it still made sense. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? What's the next song? What's the next song? So this one was kind of an outside of the box. It was actually not the song that I was going to play next, because I had a lot of other good recommendations. But just kind of hit me like, oh, the punk thing. I just wanted to check it out. And then the title was like, oh, that's an interesting title. We could talk about this. So yeah, I did that one, but I'll do another one soon. I'm kind of feeling I wanted to hear another song in Spanish, and that one that begins with an M. I'm not going to try to pronounce it until I read it a couple times, but we'll go with that. We'll go with that. Where are the girls at right now? Like, what are they doing? I guess they just had a concert. Do they travel internationally? Oh, that's what I wanted to discuss about international. So yeah, we're gonna go a little bit longer on this one then. So here's the thing that I really hope for these girls, because they're like already kind of a mega rock band, right? They're so great at what they do, but they are young, right? And yes, they achieve so much really quick and way faster than other people because of their dedication and their work. I would, and then maybe they do, but I would like to see these girls. I don't want to say it because you guys might get mad because it would mean maybe they can't make as much music. But I would like to see them take a little like sabbatical, not forever, but maybe like 3 months or something or 6 months, and just go on a world backpacking tour as sisters with some bodyguards. Like Uncle, I'll be there. If they need some unks, but with some, a little bit of parental, you know, on the fringes. But let the girls go out and experience like the entire world and all the countries and stuff in their own way. And then when they come back, they write just like even more music with just more understanding of the way things are, and just build more and more. I think that would be really cool to see them do that, especially at this age. These are still formative ages, and I know they reach so many things so early, but at that young age, you can really absorb way more than you can once you get to Gen X. Gen X, we can't absorb too much. Like YouTube is even hard to build a YouTube channel, although you can do it. And if you want to do that, go ahead. Check my coaching links. I'll help you out with that. If you really want to do a YouTube channel and you're serious and you're like in this bracket, and you reach out to me, I'll make sure you get results. Okay, I'll do some hand walking with you there, because I want to see other people in my kind of age group share their stories, share their opinions. Everybody has a story to tell. Everybody has something that's interesting, and everybody has a crowd that wants to like hang out with them. Because everybody is special in their own way, and these girls are special in three ways, more than one way. Now that was kind of a long one, and that's cool. That's cool. Some of these will be long, some will be short. But with these girls, the subject that they're covering is super interesting. And Gen Z, like I was in the service before in the federal government, and for the most part, Gen Z was actually the easiest group to deal with. When I say group, I mean like to mentor and to, just get after it and get it done. Not to say that there wasn't people in other generations that couldn't, but it was just, I just think because those two generations have a connection, sometimes it just seemed to be a little bit easier to get things done. They question authority, but they still got the job done, if you know what I mean. Like, yeah, it was okay to question authority, but it was like, don't stop everything just while I'm questioning authority. Like sometimes we just kind of like do the laundry, bro. Everybody's got to do the laundry. There's no conspiracy. It needs to get done. Anyway, that's what I'll leave you guys on. I really appreciate everybody coming back to the podcast. If you have not subscribed by now, you really should subscribe, because that was a long one. If you're still here and you're not subscribed, come on. What am I, chopped liver? Just so you guys know, I don't make a lot of money from ads and stuff. Reactors are the kind of the lowest in RPM, if you know what that is. So we only get like pennies, if anything, for doing reactions. So most of us are just doing reactions because we're enjoying it. We're enjoying the dialogue and the interaction with the fans, and that's what makes it worth it. And that's why I keep coming back. And the warning, you guys have made it well worth it. And this band, obviously makes it worth it just in their talent and the music that I'm getting to hear. So I appreciate everybody for these recommendations. I will look at more recommendations. Check out my stand store if you want to go straight to the top on the priority, or when I premiere my videos, I'll be in the live. If you're making recommendations in there, that's where this one came from. I'll push that up on priority, and then consensus inside the comment section. Obviously, I'll start moving in those directions too, but there's only 24 hours in a day. And if you think about it, you guys, I don't know if you guys know how long it takes to actually get a video out, but I'm getting better at it. But to do it right, at least 3 hours, maybe four. And for some people, that's a whole day of work, especially if you're retired like me. So yeah, just it's a little give and take. I'll see you guys on the next one. I'm the Wolfhound. You've been warned, and we'll be doing this again real soon. See ya.